So up to here, you have this description of charana. In this sutta, you find the first one is sila, the second is contentment, 3, guarding the sense doors, 4, sati sampajanya. Here it translates as full awareness, mindfulness and full awareness. And then the 5th is seclusion, resorts to a secluded resting place. 6 is abandoning of the hindrances. 7 is the 4 jhanas. So in this sutta, 7 items make up charana, conduct. But this is not complete. If you look at Lady Sayadaw's book, he also has compiled this list of charana. It's also about 7 or 8 items. But I have researched through various suttas in the Nikayas. I find there are 3 other items you can get from other suttas. So combining another 3, you actually get 10 items under charana. 3 other items also very important. One is moderation in eating, bojana matanyutta, moderation in eating, eating food only to maintain the body, helping with the practice, not to indulge in eating. Another one is devotion to wakefulness, jagarya nu yoga, devotion to wakefulness, trying to keep awake 24 hours a day. This is a very important one. And the third one is suttas Dhamma, 7 good qualities. What are these 7 good qualities necessary in a monk's conduct? Saddha, hiri ottappa, bahu satcha, virya, sati and panya. Saddha is faith or trust or confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Hiri ottappa is sense of shame and fear of wrongdoing. That's how it's usually translated. Bahu satcha is much learning, much hearing of the Dhamma. Virya is energy, energetic effort. Sati is recollection of the 4 objects of sati. Panya is wisdom. So the complete list of charana is these 7 in this sutta, plus another 3. Moderation in eating, devotion to wakefulness, and the 7 good qualities. Okay. So this last part we just read, the 4 jhanas, the Buddha says, are the footprints of the Buddha, because that, the Buddha says, is how he became enlightened. The actual way he walked to enlightenment. So the 4 jhanas. Then the Buddha continues. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of the recollection of past lives. He recollects his manifold past lives, that is 1 birth, 2 births, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, 1,000, 100,000, many aeons of world contraction, many aeons of world expansion, many aeons of world contraction and expansion. Thus, with the aspects and particulars, he recollects his manifold past lives. This too, Brahmin, is called a footprint of the Tathagata. But a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of the passing away and reappearance of beings. With the divine eye, which is purified and surpasses the human, he sees beings passing away and reappearing, inferior and superior, fair and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate. He understands how beings pass on according to their actions or karma. So this too, Brahmin, is called a footprint of the Tathagata. But a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion the Blessed One is fully enlightened. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of the destruction of the taints or asavas. He understands as it actually is. This is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. These are the taints or asavas. This is the origin of the taints. This is the cessation of the taints. This is the way leading to the cessation of the taints. This too, Brahmin, is called a footprint of the Tathagata, something scraped by the Tathagata, something marked by the Tathagata. But a noble disciple still has not yet come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened, etc. Rather, he is in the process of coming to this conclusion. When he knows and sees thus, his mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, being and ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge, it is liberated. He understands birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. This too, Brahmin, is called a footprint of the Tathagata, something scraped by the Tathagata, something marked by the Tathagata. It is at this point that a noble disciple has come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened, the Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One, the Sangha is practicing the good way. And it is at this point, Brahmin, that the simile of the elephant's footprint has been completed in detail. And this was said, the Brahmin Janasoni said to the Blessed One, Magnificent Master Gotama, Magnificent Master Gotama. Master Gotama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overthrown, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go to the Master Gotama for refuge, and to the Dhamma and to the Sangha of monks. From today, let Master Gotama remember me as a lay follower who has gone to refuge, who has gone to him for refuge for life. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, in this last part, when during the Buddha's time, when they take refuge with the three refuges, it is taking refuge with the Buddha himself, taking refuge with the Dhamma, and the third refuge is the Sangha of monks, Bhikkhu Sangha. Sangha of monks. Sometimes people like to say it's the Aryan Sangha. Actually, it's a Sangha of monks. Because when you say Aryan Sangha, who is the Arya? You don't know who is the Arya. How can you take refuge with somebody who you don't know? But monks can be identified by the robe. So you take refuge with the monk Sangha. So the monk Sangha is one of the triple gem. The other thing I'd like you to note is that after the Buddha attained the fourth jhana, he used it to become enlightened. How? You see here, when his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of the recollection of past lives. Similarly, he directs it to the knowledge of the passing away and reappearance of beings. And thirdly, he directs it to the knowledge of the destruction of the asavas, the three knowledges. So, before the Buddha can actually use his mind to attain the knowledges, he must attain the four jhanas. After he has attained the four jhanas, then the Buddha says the mind becomes bright, purified, unblemished, rid of imperfection, perfect mind, malleable, wieldy, that means can use, steady and attain to imperturbability, that means solid as a rock, cannot move, cannot be disturbed by anything. Then only he can use it to become enlightened. Without the four jhanas, the Buddha says it is impossible to attain anagamin and arahanthood, the third and the fourth fruitions. So this is another thing that's important. Okay, from this sutta we learn that the conduct of a monk or the practice of the monk consists of 10 things. First one is sila, second is contentment, third is guarding the sense doors, fourth is here it says mindfulness and full awareness, sati sampajanya, or recollection and mindfulness. Fifth that I've added is moderation in eating. Then 6 is devotion to wakefulness. 7 is the 7 good qualities. And then 8 is seclusion, going to a secluded place to practice. 9 is meditating and abandoning the hindrances, getting rid of the hindrances. 10 is entering the jhanas, the 4 jhanas. So this is the conduct or practice of a monk. And then after attaining the 4 jhanas, the Buddha said, he used it to attain the 3 knowledges and become enlightened. So you see, the Buddha in this sutta says the footprints of the Buddha, how the Buddha walked to the path the Buddha walked to enlightenment. Firstly, the first footprint is the first jhana. Second is the second jhana. Third jhana, fourth jhana, and then the 3 knowledges: recollecting the past lives, seeing beings passing away and reappearing with the divine eye or the heavenly eye. And then the third knowledge is understanding the 4 noble truths and destroying the asavas, the taints. So these are the footprints of the Buddha. So nowadays, some people find it hard to attain the jhanas, and they say jhanas are not necessary. But in the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha said this is one of the 5 conditions leading to the disappearance of the true Dhamma. When you start to belittle samadhi, the Buddha says these 5 conditions lead to the disappearance of the true Dhamma. Belittling the Buddha, belittling the Dhamma, belittling the Sangha, belittling the training in Sila Samadhi Panya. And then the 5th one is belittling Samadhi, saying that Samadhi jhanas are not necessary and all that. This is totally opposite to the Buddha's teaching, because here you can see very clearly the Buddha says his footsteps to enlightenment are firstly the 4 jhanas, and then the 3 knowledges, and then only he became enlightened. Some people belittle the jhanas. Some other people also belittle the psychic powers. These 3 knowledges, like recollecting the past lives, it is a psychic power. And then the heavenly eye or divine eye, being able to see beings passing away and taking rebirth, passing away and taking rebirth. This is another psychic power. So psychic powers are actually footprints of the Buddha. It's a way to enlightenment. It is not something that is to be belittled in the Buddha's teachings. It is part and parcel of the way to enlightenment. These are abhinyas, higher knowledges, supernormal powers that an ordinary person would not be able to get. Okay, the other thing I like to say is that so this is actually the actual way the Buddha walked to enlightenment. The jhanas, and then the psychic powers, and then contemplating the 4 noble truths and attaining enlightenment. Now, in the Hinayana school, later books, which use the later books like Abhidhamma and the commentaries and the Visuddhimagga and the sub-commentaries and all that, they teach differently. They say the way to enlightenment it's not through the jhanas, but through the jnanas, the 16 jnanas. The 16 jnanas were written 900 years after the Buddha's passing away by Buddha Ghosa. And people like Mahasi Sayadaw, he used it to create Mahasi method of meditation, which you find is totally not found in the suttas, in the original words of the Buddha. It's something he created. That's why it's called Mahasi method of meditation. It's not called the Buddha's method of meditation, but called Mahasi method. And nowadays you have Goenka method. This is not the Buddha's method. These vipassana methods, they say that jhana is not necessary. But here you can see from the sutta, without the 4 jhanas, the mind cannot be, like the Buddha says here, purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attain to imperturbability. Only with such a mind, you can direct it, the Buddha says, to whatever knowledge you want to attain in the suttas. That's how the Buddha developed the mind. That's why when a person attains the jhanas, the mind is said to be developed. Meditation is synonymous with developing the mind. Bhavana. Bhavana, the word bhavana means a developed mind, a mind that is rid of the 5 hindrances. So the Hinayana school, the later schools, they talk about pure vipassana, they talk about the 16 jnanas, which contradicts the suttas. The Mahayana, on the other hand, also teach wrongly by saying that the path to enlightenment is by making vows, bodhisattva vows, and cultivating the paramis. The paramis are later teachings. You find the suttas, no mention of paramis. The paramis are worldly qualities, generosity, speaking the truth, all this, keeping moral conduct and all that. So this is later, these two are later Buddhist teachings, the Hinayana school and the Mahayana school. We don't want to practice these two. We want to practice original Buddhism, rely only on the suttas of the Buddha, as the Buddha advised. So here the Buddha says that when a noble disciple becomes enlightened, then he is fully convinced that the Buddha is fully enlightened, the Dhamma is well proclaimed, and the Sangha is practicing the good way. Because when a person becomes enlightened, then he is one with the Buddha. It's like seeing the big bull elephant face to face. That's why the Buddha says at this point only, that person is fully convinced that it's a big bull elephant.